I used to think that a misunderstanding was just a mistake. A missed sentence, a wrong turn, a forgotten date. I thought misunderstandings were things you laughed about later over a beer. I didn't realize that in the hands of someone you love, a misunderstanding can be a weapon. It can be a carefully crafted knife, sharpened over months, designed to sever the ties that hold your life together. My brother Noah taught me that. He taught me that the most dangerous lies aren't the ones people tell you. They are the ones they let you believe. It happened on a Tuesday, the kind of gray, rainy Tuesday that feels like the sky is pressing down on the city of Seattle. I was standing in the boardroom of Bennett Logistics, the shipping company our grandfather built from a single truck in a dream. I wasn't sitting at the table. I was standing at the end of it, clutching a file folder so hard my knuckles were white. My father, the chairman, wouldn't look at me. The board members, people I'd known since I was a kid in short pants, were staring at their tablets, scrolling through the evidence of my incompetence. And at the head of the table sat Noah, my big brother, my hero. He looked devastated. He had his head in his hands, performing the role of the heartbroken sibling perfectly. I tried to tell him, Noah said, his voice cracking just enough to sound authentic. I told Liam that the crypto investments were too risky. I told him we couldn't leverage the fleet insurance for a quick payout. But there was a misunderstanding. He thought he had the authority. He thought he was saving the company. I stood there, my mouth open, but no sound came out. It wasn't just a lie, it was a masterpiece of gaslighting. The investments Noah was talking about hadn't been my idea. They were transfers I had flagged 3 months ago. Transfers Noah had made. When I confronted him back then, he told me it was a temporary liquidity bridge for a secret merger he was negotiating. He begged me to trust him. He said if I exposed it, the merger would collapse and Dad would lose his legacy. So, like a fool, I kept quiet. I let him label the transfers under my department code because he said his clearance was currently under audit for the merger. I thought I was being a loyal brother. I thought I was protecting the family. Liam, my father finally said, his voice heavy with disappointment. Is this true? Did you authorize the transfer of $2 million into these offshore holding accounts? No, I stammered. Dad, it was Noah. He told me. Noah stood up, slamming his hand on the table. Stop it, Liam. Just stop. Take responsibility for once in your life. I know you didn't mean to lose the money. I know you thought you were being the hero. But don't drag me into your mess because you misunderstood the market. You misunderstood your role here. That word again. Misunderstood. They fired me that afternoon. Security escorted me out of the building I had practically lived in for 10 years. My phone started buzzing with notifications. Emails from vendors canceling contracts with me personally. Texts from mutual friends asking if the rumors were true. I went home to the apartment I shared with my fiancée, Claire. I wanted to collapse into her arms. I wanted to tell her everything. But when I walked in, Noah was already there. He was sitting on my couch, holding Claire's hand. She was crying. Suitcases were packed by the door. Claire? I asked, the rain dripping off my coat onto the hardwood floor. She looked up at me with eyes full of fear. Noah told me, Liam. He told me about the gambling. He told me you leveraged our savings, too. What? I looked at Noah. He looked back at me with that same pitying expression he had worn in the boardroom. I had to tell her, Liam, Noah said softly, before the creditors come. I'm paying off the immediate debt so you don't go to jail, but you need help. You need rehab. I don't gamble, I screamed. Claire, listen to me. He's lying. He's the one who goes to Vegas every month, not me. He showed me the bank statements, Liam, Claire whispered. They're in your name. I realized then how deep the trap was. When I allowed Noah to use my department codes, I had inadvertently signed off on everything. He had forged my digital signature on personal accounts, too. He had built a paper trail of a life I wasn't living. A misunderstanding? No. This was identity theft disguised as brotherly concern. Claire left that night. She said she couldn't marry a liar. I lost my job, my reputation, my fiancé, and my family in under 8 hours. For the next 6 months, I lived in a studio apartment on the wrong side of town, working night shifts at a warehouse. A cruel irony. Loading trucks for a rival company. I was a ghost. I blocked my family's numbers. I stopped trying to explain myself because nobody believed me. The narrative was set. Liam Bennett was the screw-up, the addict, the tragedy. Noah Bennett was the savior who cleaned up the mess. But rage is a powerful fuel. It burns cleaner than grief. I spent my days sleeping and my nights working, but my mind was always running. I knew Noah. I knew he wasn't a financial genius. He was charming, yes, but he was impulsive. He got bored easily, and he was greedy. $2 million fills a hole, but for a gambler like Noah, it doesn't build a mountain. He would need more. I started following the industry news. Bennett Logistics was rebranding. Noah was pushing for a massive expansion, buying up smaller courier services in the Midwest. It was aggressive. It was risky. It was exactly the kind of move someone makes when they are trying to outrun a cash flow problem. One night at 3:00 a.m., my burner phone rang. It was an unknown number. "You were right about the metadata," a female voice said. I froze. "Who is this?" "Elena Rossi. I'm auditing the books for the acquisition targets Noah is trying to buy. I saw your name on the old ledgers." Elena. We went to college together. She was the girl who sat in the front row of Accounting 101, the one who corrected the professor. "Why are you calling me, Elena?" "Because numbers tell stories, Liam. And the story in the Bennett ledgers doesn't make sense. The loss pattern that got you fired? It didn't stop when you left. It paused for 2 months, and then it restarted, routed through a different vendor shell. Someone is still bleeding the company dry. And since you're driving forklifts at night, it's obviously not you." My heart hammered against my ribs. "Can you prove it?" "Not yet," she said. "He's using a miscellaneous operational expenses account that is notoriously hard to track without executive clearance. But he's getting sloppy. He's getting arrogant. He wants to sell the company," I realized aloud. "That's why he's expanding. He wants to pump up the valuation, sell it to a conglomerate, cash out, and disappear before the debt implodes." "Exactly," Elena said. "But the due diligence for the sale starts in 3 months. If he can hide the losses until then, he wins. He walks away with $50 million, and the new owners are left with the hollow shell." "I need to get back in," I said. "You can't," she replied. "Security has your photo, your persona non grata." "I don't need to be in the building," I said, a plan forming in the dark corners of my mind. "I just need to be in the system. Did they ever change the legacy server protocols for the fleet tracking?" "No," Elena laughed darkly. "Upgrade costs were cut. By Noah." That was his mistake. Noah looked at the big picture. The brand, the logo, the stock price. He never looked at the plumbing. I knew the fleet tracking system better than anyone. I had built the original architecture. It wasn't connected to the financial server directly, but it had a backdoor handshake protocol used to calculate driver bonuses based on fuel efficiency. If I could access that, I could inject a script. Not to steal money, but to illuminate it. I spent the next 2 months working with Elena in secret. We met in diners far away from the business district. She brought me encrypted drives. I wrote code on a second-hand laptop. We were building a digital die pack. The plan was simple. Noah was funneling money out through fake maintenance invoices for the trucks. He would claim 50 trucks needed new transmissions, pay a shell company he owned, and pocket the cash. The trucks, of course, were fine. My script was designed to cross-reference the GPS mileage and telematics of every truck against the maintenance logs. If a truck was reported as in the shop for a transmission rebuild, but the GPS showed it doing 60 mph on I-5, the system would flag a critical safety variance. But I didn't want to just flag it to the IT department, because Noah controlled them. I needed to flag it to the one entity Noah couldn't control: the Federal Department of Transportation. I modified the code to treat the discrepancy as a mandatory compliance report. If the variance hit a certain threshold, the system would automatically email the DOT and the insurance underwriters with a fraudulent maintenance alert. We waited for the perfect moment, the annual shareholder gala. It was the anniversary of the company's founding. The prospective buyers, a massive global conglomerate, would be there. My father, who had been ill, was making a rare appearance. Noah was going to announce the preliminary deal. I wasn't invited, obviously, but I parked my beat-up sedan a block away, watching the live stream on my phone. Noah looked dashing in his tuxedo. He stood at the podium, smiling that million-dollar smile. "My brother Liam couldn't be here," he said, pausing for effect. "We all know the struggles he has faced, but tonight is about moving forward. It's about integrity." I looked at the clock. 8:15 p.m. The automated batch processing for the fleet data ran at 8:20 p.m. "Trust," Noah continued, raising a glass. "That is the currency of Bennett Logistics." I texted Elena, who was inside the gala as part of the audit team. Initiate. At 8:20 p.m., my script ran. It crawled through the database. It found the lies. Noah had billed $3 million in fake repairs in the last quarter alone to boost his cash pile before the sale. The script didn't just email the dude. I had added one extra recipient to the alert list, the presentation screen behind the podium. I had exploited a vulnerability in the AV system that linked the live fleet status dashboard to the projector. Usually this showed a cool map of the trucks moving. Tonight, it turned bright red. On the massive screen behind Noah, a list began to scroll. Warning, fraud detected. Unit 404, invoice 9920, engine rebuild. Status, active en route. Unit 502, invoice 9991, brake overhaul. Status, active en route. Vendor, NB Holdings LLC, shell company detected. The room went silent. Noah turned around. He laughed nervously. "A technical glitch, folks. The system is a bit sensitive." But then the email started landing. The phones of the insurance underwriters in the front row started buzzing. The representatives from the conglomerate checked their devices. Elena stood up. She wasn't loud, but in the silence, her voice carried. "It's not a glitch, Mr. Bennett. It's an audit. The GPS data proves those repairs never happened. The money went to your personal account." Noah's face drained of color. This is a misunderstanding. Liam? This is Liam trying to sabotage me." "Liam isn't here, Noah." My father's voice cut through the room. I watched on the screen as my father stood up, leaning heavily on his cane. He looked frail, but his eyes were sharp. He looked at the screen, then at his golden child. "I received an email 5 minutes ago," my father said, holding up his phone. "From the Department of Transportation. They are opening an investigation into maintenance fraud. They say our safety logs are falsified." "Dad, I can explain," Noah stammered, sweat beading on his forehead. "I was moving money around to protect us from taxes, like it was strategy." "It was theft," Elena said, stepping forward with a folder. "And I have the records of the gambling debts, the ones you pinned on your brother." The chaos that followed was satisfying, but not in the way I expected. I didn't feel a rush of joy. I felt a heavy, finalized grief. I watched security, the same guards who had thrown me out, step onto the stage. They didn't take Noah gently. He was screaming, blaming me, blaming the economy, blaming the misunderstanding. But there was no misunderstanding this time. The data was absolute. I drove away before the police cars arrived. I didn't want to see him in handcuffs. I didn't need that visual. I knew it was happening. 2 days later, my father called me. It was the first time we had spoken in nearly a year. "Liam," he said. His voice was old, tired. "I'm so sorry." "I know, Dad." "I want you to come back," he said. "The board wants you back. We need you to clean this up. You're the only one who understands the systems. You can be CEO. It's yours." I sat in my small apartment looking at the rain against the window. I thought about the office, the long hours, the boardroom where I was betrayed. I thought about Claire, who had texted me that morning begging for forgiveness, saying she had been manipulated. "No," I said. There was a long silence. "What?" "I don't want it, Dad. I don't want the company. I don't want the cleanup. Sell it, dissolve it, I don't care. But it's your legacy. No, I said firmly. My legacy is that I survived my own family. I'm starting something new. On my own. I hung up. Noah went to prison for 4 years for embezzlement and fraud. The misunderstanding defense didn't hold up in court when they found the offshore accounts in his name. The company was sold for parts. I started a small consulting firm for cybersecurity and logistics. Elena is my partner. We don't make millions, but we sleep at night. I learned the hardest lesson of all. A relationship isn't destroyed by the conflict. It's destroyed by the refusal to see the truth. Noah thought he could rewrite reality by calling his crimes a misunderstanding. He thought he could edit the tape of our lives, but he forgot one thing. The truth is the only thing that doesn't need to be managed. It just is. And eventually, it always comes out of the dark.